early afternoon. I'll come back around to Marina Sirtis' comment a while back about they seeming not wondering how the hell Republicans could be Trekkies. It's like, okay. Now she cited Republicans, not just conservatives in general. She doesn't quite get because I don't know how much dealing she's really had with Republicans in her time in the U.S. She probably had more doing with Tories back in Britain. But it's similar enough thing. We can speak on this, I think. One, I think we got a massive misunderstanding of conservatives and what makes us tick. And what is about Star Trek that we actually think we can find something of worth in there. Because, one, I think, let's look at the core of what really conservative thought is these days, at least. I can't speak to previous generations, but, at least as far back as like Goldwater, we can talk. Really, it's in a nutshell. It's lower taxes, smaller government, leaving people. It really boils down to leave the people alone, stay out of their lives as much as possible. Worry about just governing. Don't worry about running people's lives. Like that's one of Reagan's big thing. The first job of the government is to keep people safe, not run their lives. And the way that Roddenberry set up the Star Trek universe, one, it's a post-scarcity economy. You have replicators and fusion generators. So power is, energy is available and practically free. You got a replicator, you're set. You don't need to go in. You can do it or whatever you need right there. When that, then you're no longer dealing with economic debates, tax rate, who's taxing who, and who's paying their fair share, for the most part, because they're no longer having to pay for a lot of stuff they would be normally, and you're able to pretty much find a little more common ground on how to treat your fellow man type thing, how to treat the environment. And that's a little, you're no longer dealing with, pitched battles over, marginal tax rates or, NEA funding. And that is why you have a very large contingent, I think probably equal to the society in general, of Star Trek fans versus, of conservatives and left-leaning people in Star Trek. And also kind of highlights partially, the changing meanings of left and right. Because, the running joke with Roddenberry was the only reason he voted for George McGovern is because Mao Zedong couldn't run. But Roddenberry was also a pretty proud patriot, for the most part. He thought, nationalism was the thing of the past. He did, serve, the bomber pilot in World War II. And remember, he wrote the Omega Glory. That little bit of, borderline jingoism on Star Trek, he wrote that. That was all his. They tried stopping it time and time again. That was originally offered up as a second pilot possibility, and they kept putting it back and said, "No, Gene, this needs to work." This, and finally, it's like, "Okay, we're out of ideas. Gene, do your flag thing." So it's like a lot of Roddenberry. He was very contradictory. It's like one of the jokes when he was when they were doing Next Generation, he would offer up something that kind of contradicted something from the original series and called on and say, "Allow me the consistency of my inconsistencies." Because he'd have a lot of, he'd sort of spitball a lot of things here. How if we did this? And he wouldn't necessarily, he would leave it to others to flesh it out and figure it out and prove to him why it wouldn't work. But he would, a lot of it was just, throwing out ideas. And he had a lot of ideas of how society should work. Like we should be, making things just because we like to make them and share them with people, not because we want to make money at it. While at the same time being one of the biggest money grubbers in Hollywood. Stuff like that. But, I've known a lot of very conservative Trekkies, and probably more conservative than I am, and I'm right up there. So, and a few people in our end of the fandom menace area, they pretty much had to out themselves, even though it's like usually explicitly try and keep the politics out of it. We use this area to get away from politics. Because yeah, you want to go political. I can, I could turn it into a dime store John Handy without a whole lot of effort here. But I don't want to do that because we already got Sean. We already got Rush. We got, Glenn Beck. We don't need me in that field. I feel I do much better good in this area dealing with fans of fandom and genre stuff. But yeah, Marina, learn a little what you're talking about before you start, And I'm sorry that Tottenham lost to Liverpool in the Champions League, but better luck next year, okay? I mean, I support Oxford United. I'm used to disappointment year after year, so. I mean, they've actually been doing okay over the past few years. This past year was kind of a nail biter, but actually in the relegation zone for a while. But and the thing, the changing face of that, like I said, Roddenberry now would not recognize the left. He'd be pushing the moderate territory. And I don't think he'd like that very much. But yeah, it's and in the case of we got more in this area. We got more in common than most people think we do. Okay, so let's not play the game of making everything political. Not everything has to be hyper political. The can of ravioli I had for lunch is nothing political about it. What was available. The shirt I chose to wear is nothing political. It's just the shirt. Grabbed a clean one. And we just get enough, okay? I mean, there are moral and I guess somewhat political messages to be learned through Star Trek and then through the years, but generally it doesn't always have to be there. Yes, Star Trek was political. It wasn't always political. There's plenty of stories there. There's no real political agenda attached to them. It's just a romp. And that's what a lot of people miss even the ones who think they know. Oh yeah, it's teaching deep political moral statements. Sometimes, when it's appropriate and when it fits the story. The story has to come first. If the story's crap, no one gives a crap about your political message. They're really not going to care because you're attacking the message on top of a crappy story. It's got, Roddenberry, I've seen the tape, Roddenberry himself, it's got to be entertaining, nobody's going to care. But I think it's kind of like, might be proof that, these guys don't know what they're doing. Alex Kurtzman, talking about the inner light. And some of the messages in that one, and it gets, kind of a weird little synopsis of the story, because if you know the story, it's like, that's not what went on. It's he's talking about. There was a time thing, and this collective memory thing, and no, there were no collective memories. Picard was kind of fed the memories of one guy of this culture, and it was like decades of this guy's life. And to learn the culture of it. But there was no time limit as far as, on the Enterprise, like, they didn't know how long it was going to happen, and all we can do is sit back and wait. There was no ticking time bomb or anything. And when it was over, and it got back to how long? 20, 25 minutes? It's like 25 minutes? And it was just, okay, now, the closest we got is, when the message ended, we now live through you. Tell them about us. That was it. And I think Mecca nailed it. When there's one line he quoted, it's like, and she going shopping, and it's the inscription on the little pendant they make of the little probe. That's why I was able to quote it so exactly, because you wrote it in the box, Robert. We got people that don't know what they're doing, trying to teach us about Star Trek. It's like, you don't know yourself about Star Trek. You're going to teach me about it? I don't think so. Yes, we're meandering a bit. Well, what the hell? I got to fill time. It's actually a somewhat nice day today. Cooled down quite a bit. It should only get up in the high 80s today. Coming in mid-July. Okay, so as always, PayPal, Patreon, down below is also Subscribe Star. It's been there for a while, but nothing's happening with it. Another bunch of every link I could think of on there. PayPal's the big one though, because that addresses immediate needs, and nobody gets a bite of it. It's all in there. And we will talk at you later.